What's going on, everybody? Happy Thirsty Thursday. Welcome to another edition of DBC, Dangle Bet Celly, presented by Points Bet, here live at FTN. Chris Meaney and the Eric Young here with you for the next little bit, breaking down another massive slate in the NHL. If you are listening on iTunes and Spotify, we always appreciate you guys. Rate, review, subscribe. If you're hanging out with us live, smash the like button. Any comments, any questions, you can address them or you can give them, and we will address them on the show. Always circling back on these videos as well. Closer to puck drop, some late-minute scratches, things we've seen in the NHL lately, some line movement. You can always reach out if you have some sort of question. I know some people sometimes screenshot their fantasy hockey lineup for me. I have no problem making some of the decisions. Now, I hope that I make the right ones. Ultimately, it is your call. But we're a family here at FTN. We love just talking hockey with you guys. So again, we're always circling back on these videos to address any questions that you do have. EY, welcome in. I was up super late last night, so I'm going to attempt to co-host this show with you. It was a really good night, I will say that. In the Discord channels, both the NHL DFS, the NHL betting, some really good vibes in there. I'm not going to say who won. I didn't have the confirmation yet, but one of our subs took down $50K last night. Actually had a really nice day with nearly $80,000 won, but took down a contest last night. 50,000, had a nice little sweat. All him did thank us, for myself, Griffin Lee, for the content over at ftndaily.com. I happened to write the article with the Ducks, but that was all him, man. He had a nice lineup with a good mix of Blue Jackets, Ducks, and Luukkonen between the pipes. So congrats right off the hop to one of our subs. Love seeing that. And on the betting side, man, we're up near 60 units over the past couple of weeks. So really good vibes right now. Hopefully we're hitting our stride at the right time of the season. And we just so happen to have that promo code FTN Hoops. As we creep closer to March Madness, FTN Hoops saves you 35% off at FTN Daily and FTNBets.com. Links inside the description of this video. If you want to be part of the family, you have any questions at all, you can reach out at Chris Meaney. So a great night last night. And again, hopefully we can keep this thing going here. What are you walking there? Got the Leafs? I assume you were up late last night watching the Leafs too. Matthews 50, Matthews 51. Let's go.
Is, boys.
So good. He's scoring off of his chest. We talked 7-1. I think a lot of us over at FTN, we have the 7-1 for the Hart, just because, man, if he scores 70 plus, like we said the other day, it's going to be really hard not to give it to him. And again, value on the 2-point night for Austin Matthews, plus 140 for him to pick up a couple points. And the Leafs rolled last night. What'd you see from them? Just another great showing from the top six, and William Neal had a great game as well.
I messaged you last night. Look, I mean, the Oats are scrappy. There's no doubt about it. But when the Maple Leafs play that way, it's hard to stop them from rolling, right? And it should. The majority of their money is spent in their top six, and that's what it should look like. And it doesn't a lot of the nights. But man, Matthews is just on a wicked pace. I mean, we haven't seen 67 goals since 93, was it?
I mean, 92, I think, was
92, 93. Yeah,
70,
that's right.
Yeah, 70 some odd.
So we're witnessing what could be history, right? He could get hurt and whatever. It does not look like he's going to stop scoring. So if he stays in the lineup and only misses a few games between now and the end of the season, we could be witnessing history. In my opinion, he's taken over as the number one goal scorer in the league. Glad that he's a Maple Leafs player, and glad that they were rolling less. There were still 3 goals scored on the other side, and they let them slide back into the game as the Maple Leafs like to do, and then they pressed the pedal again and pulled away. The first and third periods, they just mauled them. Offensively just mauled them. Pressure on the puck all over the place, keeping the puck. It was a very one-sided game in those 2 periods.
Yeah, so Matthews has 51 goals in 54 games. There was, again, one of our subs last night popped in. Again, it's just great vibes in the Discord, man. Everybody's just a big family. We're all trying to win some cash. We have some fun. We're sweating the hockey picks out and props. It's just, again, I just love the communication and the vibes. But for Matthews, when you look at the game log, it's just absolutely crazy. It's video game. I don't remember seeing something like this. Maybe Ovechkin.
Well, it hasn't happened since 92, 93. right? Like,
right, but Ovi's like been in the run here that he's on recently. Like we've seen some players, but it's 4 straight games at least 2 points, one with 5, one with 3. 6 of 7, at least 2 points. I mean, the goals in 4 straight games and 6, 7, 8, 9 over that span. So somebody in the Discord dropped a DraftKings special last night. It was 80-1 for Matthews to have 60 in 60. It's certainly worth a sprinkle. I know I think a few of us hammered it and they took it off the board. Maybe that pops up a little bit later on, but 51, 51 in 54 games. 60 and 60 is going to be tough. Does have a couple matchups against the Golden Knights, one tonight, a couple against the Bruins, but man, who knows? And certainly worth a sprinkle if you saw anything out there remotely close to plus 8,000. Okay, let's get after it. We got a ton of games here.
A lot of games.
We want to be a little bit more concise with some of our picks, but we're still going to do the same thing, roll through some of the games, wrap up with our favorite plays. And we always say what up to the crew just because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show here. So Evan says he cashed in the Bruins last night. He had the Owen Tippett shots, connecting point. Plus 170, but missed my 4-man shot parlay because Peterka was nowhere to be seen after the first period. I think he had a couple shots in the first and was quiet after that. Really likes the Stars here in 60. Yes, we love the Stars. We got Dallas already in the tracker. 2 units for them to win in reg and a little bit of a sprinkle on the puck line at plus 158. Mason Marchman, Matt Duchene. It's like Evan's part of the family too. We have a couple of these picks already in here. Adam Szymanski, welcome in. We love the Stars' second line on this show. We also like the Ducks' second line, which helped one of our subs win some cash last night. We had plus 450 for the this is a line to consider moving forward because the value, right? It's Anaheim. Vegas is not really giving them a lot of respect, but for Toronto, Terry, and Mason McTavish, plus 450 last night for a point. We had them at 55-1 for 2 points. We needed one more for Frank the Tank Vetrano. He couldn't get it done for us, but he still managed a point in 3 shots. Yeah, we're riding. Wild, but here. Okay, we're gonna get going here. Daily Handle, welcome in. That market is still down. Yeah, no doubt. They're hanging 80-1 on a Toronto Maple Leaf player, as hot as Austin Matthews is. They're gonna take that down immediately. You got a little bit of sprinkle at 80-1. I love that, man. Why not? Like that is just pizza money, and he can get that done. I don't think any of us would be shocked if
and especially if they keep this up, like they're rolling. We talked about it, what will happen with the Morgan Riley thing. Oh, right there. Yeah. It was going to go one of 2 ways. So it's a 50-50 bet, but my guess is that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's a galvanizing thing. And look, I'm not condoning that he cross-checked somebody in the head. That's pretty frowned upon in the world, but going after him was the right move. How he did it was probably not the right way, but
seemed to spark the boys.
Nobody got hurt. They haven't lost.
Nobody got hurt.
Let's go. Hockey rules.
Yeah. Evan says EY was so right about the Leafs team stepping up after the Morgan Riley situation. And Evan is here despite his little girl being a handful last night, woke up every hour from 9 to 6. But you were here and Szymanski's here after a late game. And man, my men's league game last night was awful. Telling EY we're up 3-1 with 2.5 minutes left and lost 4-3. Didn't even get to overtime. That's a collapse. Okay, let's go. Where do you want to start? You are gonna kick us off here, Eric. We got a ton of action on the ice, 11 games. So where are we going first?
Yeah, let's go Colorado, Detroit, man. It's that could be a pretty interesting game. We got our boy McKinnon who got the point. We talked about it on Tuesday with the
you were correct by that. You were all over that. I misspoke. Definitely credit to you. You were all over that, and it's now 27 games. He's got a point in every game, and he got it in the last minute.
I didn't have any money on it, but like I want it to continue because I like when good players do good things. It makes the league more compelling. But yeah, I mean, look at Detroit they're right in the middle of the mix, right? Like they're not out of it. They're not really in it. They're battling away. They've got an interesting team with interesting players. DeBrincat and Kane over there now. The Gostisbehere pickup was great, I think, for them, especially on the power play. Tonight, I'm going McKinnon. On FanDuel, he's negative 120, but I think that he scores here tonight and keeps it rolling. And I'm going back to Lehkonen. Lehkonen, I've put money on him to score for the last, I think, 3 games, and he's done it. And that's a good thing. And Vegas hasn't caught up yet. He's 260 and he's playing on the top power play. So I love that. Going Larkin at 180 and Lucas Raymond. The last couple Detroit games I like to pop in because they're an interesting team. And Lucas Raymond has been all over the place and he's playing on the top power play. He's plus 290. Really like him as a player. And I feel like he's going to get something to go here tonight.
Yeah, I like him as a player too. I like the two calls you had. I mean, Lehkonen for a point is minus 140. It's a little juicy, but I mean, you just mentioned the run that he's on, and on that first power play, scored an empty net goal the other night. He's on, in key situations 5-5 because of his defensive play. It was silly not to go back to Nate McKinnon. The shot prop at 4.5 over at Bet Rivers is minus 118. I went back and I looked at the last the last game where he had 10 shots and 12 shot attempts over a 19 game span since January 1st, averaging 8.5 shot attempts per game, 162 over the 19 games, ranked second in the NHL. And there was actually a bit of a gap between him and David Pastrnak at 1. Those guys are just, even watching Pasta last night, like he can, it's crazy that these guys can take their game to another level. And I really do feel like, not that they take nights off sometimes, but the fact that you're in Edmonton, you're playing against McDavid and Draisaitl, they picked you on the All-Star squad. There's a little bit of a vibe there. All-Stars are playing All-Stars. And he just was very aggressive shooting the puck last night. What a great hockey game between the Oilers and the Bruins last night. Anyways, a guy that is averaging 9 shot attempts per game over the last 20 games, I think we have to take the 4.5. It's a 2-unit play for me, and it's over at Bet Rivers is the best price. Again, using the prop shop to get the best possible number. I'm going to go with Nate Dogg here for 5 shots, and we'll just continue to ride that one out. Means I got you beat up 6-3, 3 minutes left, and lost 7-6 in overtime. What? Both of us last night just folding like an envelope in the last couple of minutes in the third period. Man, everything was going so smooth for us. Again, we were up 3-1 and they were generating nothing. They were 1 and done, 5-5. Then there was a guy that got hurt in the neutral zone and ended up being in a defensive zone faceoff for us, and they scored right off the draw. And it was just like, this thing's happened. And there he is, lost. EY, how do you feel? How does it feel to be down 8-1 to me in fantasy? There's no stopping Nylander. Kevin in the house with the chirps. Let's go.
I have no control over when my players do well. Look, I'm good at fantasy hockey. I won't hide that. And if
you crushed me last week in the DBC league.
Yeah, if you beat me, then props to you. I mean, it's a long season. And,
Kevin, he's rattled. He's shook. He's shook, dude.
And I got too many leagues to be rattled. Like I can't keep it straight. So anytime someone scores, I score. I'm also being scored upon. So, I mean, look at Nylander scores and I'm celebrating because I'm a Leafs fan. I'm a hockey fan first. So, I mean, I don't know how many teams that I'm playing against him in fantasy sports because I've got too many teams. I'm just too busy. I got 3 jobs and I can't remember what I did yesterday. So 8-1's awesome. Yeah, but I mean, I've got a few days left here. So don't get too
That's right. 2 massive days left on the schedule, today being one of them, and then Saturday. But Kevin, you get your chirps in, man. I'm here for that.
It's a solid
8-1. Let's
go. It's a solid thing to bring to light here on the show and embarrass me. Well played, Kev.
I love it. Well played, Kev. Okay, you're up next, UI. Where do you want to go?
Let's go Washington, Tampa, because we're feeling that Ovi love again, man.
Oh, man.
The NHL is a better place when he's firing from the top of the circle and it's going in, and that's what's happening. And I've been saying it for too many years now. I'm not going to back down, but he's starting to make me sweat again. Will he catch the goal scoring record? I don't think he does, but anyways, I would be happy to be proven wrong, as he's one of my favorite players. I wear number 8 when I play hockey, not because of him, because it's my favorite number, but yeah, I mean, it's just a better league when he's scoring goals. And Washington, we said this, we were texting back and forth. They're just weird. I mean, they're weird. Like they shouldn't be good, and they are. And then they're terrible when they should be good. It's just an impossible team to read, and the goaltending's up and down. Ovi doesn't score, and then he scores every night. So it's impossible to predict. But if you're giving me Alex Ovechkin at plus anything, I'm hammering it, and he's 165 on FanDuel. And look at the prop shop is the coolest tool. I mean, to me, that FTN has one of, if not the coolest. But it breaks my heart because I live in communist Tennessee and I can use like 2 betting apps. So I can, oh, look at, there's cool odds that I can't use, it's so I try not to look at it because it makes me sad. But I'm going Ovi at 165 and Connor McMichael. The guys from the DFO podcast put this up a couple of weeks ago about him stepping up and in light of Kuznetsov being gone. And they were right, man. I mean, he scored 2 goals the other night. And listen to this. He's playing centering the second line and playing on the top power play, and he's plus 470. I'm going to work him into some weird parlay with people that are not likely to score but could score tonight and see how much money I can win.
He's an interesting DFS play too because he's super cheap. I know that I had him in a lineup or 2 the other night. I was really surprised that he scored both goals. He got one early, and that's like all you could ask for at his salary. May not be needed tonight, in a 11-game slate with Vasilevsky, but I love the call because you're bringing attention to the promotion that he's had. Like February 13th, he plays fewer than 10 minutes. In his last game, he played 17, 23 shots, won 8 faceoffs, and had 2 goals, has 3 goals in 3 games, has points in 4 of his last 6. So there is like a spark. I have his rookie card. I gotta show you now that I'm thinking about it.
He's taking young shelf here, people. Here we go.
I broke a box on this show. I don't know if it was this show. It was definitely this network a couple weeks ago. A Young Guns, Connor McMichael. So we keep that one. We keep that one just back here. It's a nice little card. And hey, maybe he's our guy tonight. What'd you say? The odds were 5-1
to score. It's 470
plus 470 over at FanDuel.
Scored in the last game. Often that means that he's going to score again. That's just how the NHL works. The guys get going and they feel it and they're playing well. And obviously he's playing a bunch of minutes. He's playing on an important second line and he's playing on the top power play. And look, they want the puck coming off of Ovi's stick, but that doesn't mean that it goes in. I mean, it could be save. McMichael's in front of the net, play center. He's in front of the net, or he's in the bumper position, whatever it is, however they decide to set it up. I haven't watched a ton of Washington over the last couple of weeks, so I don't know where he's playing. But what is most important to me is he's playing on the top power play.
Yeah, exactly. And Dylan Strome has 11 points in the last couple of weeks. He's minus 125 for a point. I think he's a pretty good value. I don't have much on the Tampa Bay side. These guys are just so juiced. I would expect Kucherov to have a couple points. If there's one shot prop I would go after on the Tampa side, it would be Braden Point. Cirelli's on a hell of a run too. It actually surprised me when I looked at the back of his hockey card and his game log. I'm like, wow, how is Anthony Cirelli just quietly, he's got points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of his last 13 games. He's getting leaned on a lot. They kind of shuffle their line. Sometimes with Stamkos, other times he's with Hagel. Most times he's played with Hagel. But he is also minus 130 for a point. I like Strome a little bit better, minus 125. And I don't know how you don't take Ovechkin. 8 goals in his last 8 games, and you're getting plus 165 for Ovi to score a goal. Like he's just, he's in a groove. How many do you think he finishes with now? At the end of the season, he has 16 here, and 8 of them have come. Half of his goals have come over the last 2 weeks. What number does he finish with? 25?
He won't pick up this pace. My instinct is in between 25 and 30. I mean, if I was going to put like a number, I'm going to just say 28.
I agree with Adam. I've always said this. I said this 8 years ago. I did the math 8 years ago. This is a big time decline. I didn't expect this one. I thought maybe he'd get to like 25, 30. Then he would wrap up with like a couple 20 goal seasons, but we'll see, man. Stamkos is a good one as well. Stammer has been pretty consistent. Yeah, it's a good call. What's his price? I had him the other day in the tracker, and he was stuck on 2. And he's minus 125 over at DraftKings. That is a pretty good price for Stammer. We'll move on from this game. Him and Point, yeah, he's been real consistent. Adam, it's right to call him out. Stamkos minus 125. Nice little.
I got Kucherov and Stamkos to score.
Love it. Let's go. All right, next, where are we at?
Montreal and Pittsburgh.
Montreal and Pitt. Okay. I'll take it away. You go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
I'm going to Caulfield 165. If I'm going to bet on anybody to score in the Montreal Canadiens, it's going to be Caulfield. Has been a bit down over the last couple of weeks, but getting his points, and I mean, obviously, playing on the top line, playing on the top power play, that Suzuki, Slafkovsky, and Caulfield line is awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Caulfield at 165, and Alex Newhook is playing on the second line, and he's also playing now on the top power play as well. And he's plus 430. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the McMichael and Newhook, and I'll pick one more to put in like a three-way parlay, I think, to see.
Yeah, he took Sean Monahan's spot on that top power play, so using that bumper. They've been trying to go to him. It hasn't worked out yet, but he has had a couple opportunities. So maybe tonight is the night. I get a couple in here. I'm going right back to Slafkovsky. I'm not going to get burned because he didn't get a point last night. He had an 8-game point streak, I think, heading into last night. We've been all over it basically the entire run. So I have no issue, going right back to him. The ice time is still there. Top power play. He spent way too much time in the box last night. I think he had 6 penalty minutes, but he still played 21 minutes in that game. So he's minus 120 for a point. And you mentioned Cole Caulfield. I have also him in the tracker as well for 4 shots. And I know it's a bit of a tougher matchup. Played last night. Bet Rivers is offering minus 117 for Cole Caulfield. DraftKings is hanging minus 135. Caesars at minus 147. Again, that's why the prop shop is just so cool. But Cole Caulfield, you mentioned, a little bit quiet in terms of goals. He's picking up a lot of helpers, but the shot attempts are still there in the shots. 5, 6, 6, and 8 over the last 4 games. He's had at least 4 shots on goal in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of his last 12 hockey games. He has cleared 3.5 shots. It's pretty good there. I don't have much on the Pittsburgh side. I do like Rust. I find Brian Rust always has the Habs number, but his props are a little bit juiced, minus 166 for the point and minus 165 for the 3 shots. And I'm not comfortable really taking the 4, but the Apple is pretty decent at plus 150 for him, maybe to pick up a point, or maybe Ricard Raquel. Habs are in a tough spot playing the back-to-back. I would expect the Penguins to win. In fact, I'm not crazy about Pittsburgh, to be honest with you, but they may be in play here for like a puck line plus 115 to win by 2, or to win in regulation would be, I don't have it right in front of me. Let me get it quick time just before we move on. Actually, you tee up the next game and I'll dive into it. Where are we going next?
Let's go Dallas, Ottawa. And
that's a good one.
I'm going to go Robertson here, 175. And Duchesne is just, he's been awesome all year. We've talked about him a ton, but he missed that one game. I don't know if it was injury or sickness or what it was, but played in the last game. And he looks so good in Dallas. And I don't know if it's a style of play or because he was discarded Nashville or what it is, but love him. He's plus 220. Ottawa side, I'm going Brady Tkachuk at 160 and Claude Giroux at 250.
Love it. Pittsburgh minus 140 to win in reg, by the way. Yeah, Claude Giroux is, I feel like we've been talking a lot about him lately as the most consistent Senator. Pittsburgh's minus 140 and 60. I put in a couple of Stars picks last night. I was thinking the 2 unit at minus 144 on Dallas just to win the hockey game. Now I really did feel like there'd be some closing line value there, and I'm seeing them now in our prop shop around minus 160. So a lot of money came in on the Stars. You can get minus 154 at FanDuel. That's not bad. It's getting a little bit steep, but I decided to lean with Dallas to win in 60 in regulation at plus 105 over at DraftKings. I know the Sens are a weird team. It seems like they lose to bad teams and then they surprise you and beat a good team like Tampa the other night, especially after Bolts coming off a 9-2 thumping. I thought that they'd be much sharper in their next game against Ottawa, which just wasn't the case. But this Dallas team, they're just so good. I take them all the time, especially on the road. 3 lines deep, good goaltending, solid on the blue line. So Dallas at plus 105 to win in 60. Again, that's a 2 unit play for me. And then I put a little bit of a sprinkle on them on the puck line at plus 150. Plus 158, excuse me. It's now plus 150 over at Bet365 to win by 2. I also put Matt Duchesne in there, so we're on the same page. Matt Duchesne point. Minus 135 for Duchesne point. And as much as we always bet that second line for like same game parlay. I'm going to do it again tonight. Mason Marchment, Sagan, and Duchesne. There's good value on Mason Marchment just to pick up a point. Like if you're not and I get it, like you can get into trouble with these same game parlays. We do, little pizza money, and not everybody has 365. And I know DraftKings has it available, but plus 105 for him to pick up a point, Mason Marchment, is a pretty good value because that line has been cooking all year long. So I don't have a whole lot on the Ottawa side of things. I like the Giroux. What's the value on Giroux for a point? What'd you have for a goal? Plus
250.
That's pretty solid. Minus 166 is a bit much. For the shot, he's been shooting. He's plus money for a shot. But anyways, before we move on from this game, wanted to give you guys the odds because this has just been so good to us lately, man. We just have to ride it out. Duchesne, Sagan, and Mason Marchment plus 425 for them to pick up a point at 365. For the 2-point night for that line, it is 70-1. So we're going to do that again. Plus 425, 70-1. We'll go Duchesne single. And that'll be it. I'll move on. I feel like that game's going to be pretty fun. What do you think the final score could be? You think we could see some goals?
Well, I mean, Ottinger's been solid, but just not what he was last year. I would expect him to play because Wedgwood played it in the last game, but and look at, I mean, we've said it a million times. Ottawa's just unpredictable, completely unpredictable. Yeah. It's terrifying to bet on them. It's terrifying to think they're going to win. It's terrifying to have them on your fantasy team. I mean, Tim Stützle for half the season has been invisible. In other games, he's got 4 points. So it's just, they're impossible to read right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say we see some goals. The over 6.5 is juiced to minus 135. I think we'll see a combined 6, 7, 8 goals in this game. That's kind of where I'm at. I think Dallas could put up 4 or 5 themselves, and maybe Ottawa gets 2 or 3. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like the crew, right? Duchesne minus 135 for a point. And yeah, there we go. Marchment plus 105 for a point. Going back to Brady over 3.5 shots, but that's it on Ottawa. Yeah, I can't get there's just way too much inconsistency at the moment when it comes to the Sens. What I will say about a shot prop is Wyatt Johnson seems to be shooting again. He's minus 120 over at DraftKings. He's had at least 4 shots in 4 straight games. He had 8 there the other night. That was the game that Duchesne didn't play, but Duchesne returned against the Rangers and he put up 4 shots. Dallas has lost 3 straight, but they have played tough teams. Oilers, Bruins, and Rangers. Maybe they get back on track tonight. All right. What's next?
Florida, Carolina, buddy. We got our guy Reinhart somehow at plus 150. Carolina's, I mean, they've been a very consistent team, and they have been for, feels like a decade, but you just kind of never know. Florida they're ridiculous. We don't need to go into it again, but I'm going to go Reinhart at 150 and Matthew Tkachuk at 220. Carolina, Aho at 195 and Neches at 230. Such a good player, but just you never know which one's going to show up.
Yeah, I know that's another guy. There's so much skill, and yeah, I know you can just never really count on him. But he is a good player. Yeah, there's good value on Florida because it's Carolina, like Hurricanes at home. But I still like the Panthers, right? I mean, how can we not bet the Panthers here? We're getting them plus 100. Florida to win on the money line, right? They're playing so good. I know you guys are sick of hearing us talk about Florida, but everybody I think on this show is in on the Panthers. So I'll take them at plus 100 against anybody in the NHL because I think that they are arguably the best team in the league. And they just crushed their interstate rival Florida Panthers. Like they crushed Tampa, embarrassed the hell out of them in that game. I don't see a ton of value. I won't go to Bennett. I am a sucker for Bennett. I will say Brennan Montour has looked like Brennan Montour of last year over the past couple of weeks. He's been shooting. He's been picking up some points. I mean, it really is.
They were already
imagine he's just hitting his groove.
They were already great without him and Ekblad. You can say whatever you want about Ekblad, but he's a really good player and a really important player for them. I don't think he's offensively what everyone thought he was going to be, and tons of injuries, and that's definitely slowed him down. But he's a really good player, and they were great without those 2 players. They're 2 probably best defensemen. I mean, respect for Gustav Forsling, but I mean, those are probably their 2 best defensemen.
sure. Yeah. Montour's got points and back-to-back games, 5 total, and points in 3 of his last 4. He's plus 120 for pick up a point. He's got 8 shots in his last 2. Somebody to keep an eye on. I don't have a lot of props here either, Adam. But I think just because it is Carolina, like for example, you can get plus 190 on the top line to pick up a point. Barkov, Reinhart, and Verhaeghe. And then Sveshnikov and Aho go hand in hand as well, plus 135 for those 2 guys. So I'll probably lean on the top line on each squad. Maybe a Matthew could check assists, but I think there's some better spots here to attack. So we'll keep chugging along. What's next, good sir? We are moving here. New Jersey. Should we go to Jersey?
New Jersey Devils. Yeah, 100%, man.
Feel you were going to say it.
Right across the river. New Jersey's starting to, round into form here. Rangers coming off the win at the Stadium Series game, looking pretty good. I'm going to go Kreider to score at 135. And I don't know, I wasn't sure if I read it right, but is Panarin banged up? Have you heard that? I thought I read that.
I'll see the latest on him. He is banged up. He's considered day-to-day. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. It's the latest here. Missed Wednesday's practice due to a lower body injury. He's questionable to suit up here tonight.
Yeah, and so that's, if he suits up, that's better for the New York Rangers, but it's terrifying. And I think VC is also banged up, and I think they had him playing on that top line. So my gut feeling is that Lafreniere is going to slide in to that spot on the top line, maybe with Kreider and Zibanejad. He's also been playing, he's could slide into that top power play if Panarin's out on the right-hand side. I don't have any information except for that's what I think they will do. So I'm going to go Lafreniere to score as well at 230. New Jersey, Jack Hughes is a phenom and personality for days, and I wish more players were like him in the NHL. If you saw what he said to Arvidsson, they got into it.
I did, and then I looked in the stands, and there was nobody at the New Jersey game.
Well, yeah.
I just had a nice laugh at that. I loved it. It's like, dude, like people pay to people pay to watch me play. But then I saw the meme and it's like, well, there's nobody at this Devils game, but I get it.
Right. So correct and not correct at the exact same time. Sounds like a story of my life. 125 for Hughes and Hischier at 220. Just have a gut feeling on Hischier. He's a great player. I like having 2 different scorers on different lines. And so that's why I went with Hischier at 220.
Yeah, we talked about Hischier on Tuesday's episode. We had the over 2.5 shots. He had 5. Going right back to him again tonight. The 2 shot props that I have in the tracker from this game is Nico Hischier, minus 117 for 3. He's just been quietly really good. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, he's had at least 3 shots, and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, he's had at least 4, and he's had at least 5 in 3. So he's shooting a lot for a guy that we can get at minus 117. And you guys know, just like Nathan McKinnon, Jack Hughes over 4.5. Like we got lucky the past couple of, not lucky, but I guess we got 3.5 over the past week and a half or so. Had a little bit of juice on it. Today I'm seeing plus 124 for 5 shots. I just think you have to take it no matter the opponent, because for one, he's on the ice so much and he just likes to take over games, and he's been shooting. He's just on this like recent run of throwing like 10 pucks towards the goal per game. So those guys, I had Lafreniere circled as well. I've been taking him. His shot prop and his point prop has been around plus money for the past 3 weeks. Yeah, he is. He's having a good year, and he's been shooting a lot as well. So he's plus 100 for a point tonight, and he's minus 105 for 3 shots. I like both of those plays. And for the shots lately, he's had at least 3 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 9. So quietly shooting the puck. Picked up a couple points there the other night. We'll see. That'd be as much as there's chemistry there, certainly with him and Panarin and Trocheck. It would be, if there was no VC and there was no Panarin in particular, it would mean a little bit more juice there for Lafreniere tonight. And as much as I pumped up Nico Dawes on Tuesday, it'll make me look very good. That's for sure. Okay.
New Jersey's goaltending has had
it's been awful.
He's had that effect on everybody this year.
I don't even know if they make the playoffs. Like, they have to go on a run, and they need goaltending because the Flyers are still playing pretty good. Okay, next, Blues and Islanders. Let's do Blues and Islanders.
My dogs are
going back
wild out there.
Oh, they're howling for Patrick Waugh in these aisles. We got Matthew Barzal and Bo Horvat just looking like beauties out there. What you got for us? Are you going back to Barzal?
Yeah, I'm going back to Barzal and Nelson. Nelson is at 160 and Barzal's at 175. I love the 175 on Barzal. Don't need to say it again. It does feel like Patrick Waugh has unlocked him and kind of let him be Matthew Barzal, which we love to see. Like, just a ridiculous skater, man. It's insane. On the St. Louis side, Jordan Kyrou at 175 and Butch Navich at 190. They're just, I mean, like, Thomas and Kyrou, there's a real connection there. They've been great together. If, maybe you wanted to, I wouldn't advise doing it today because I'm pretty sure it's, oh my God, why can't I think of his name? The Golden Islanders.
Sorokin?
Blank. Sorokin. I think Sorokin's playing.
He should get every start the rest of the way.
Yeah, I would avoid DFS lineups with him, or if you're deciding between, if you had Kyrou and somebody else. I made this decision in one of my leagues where I had Thomas, but I took Thomas out and replaced him with somebody else. I can't remember who that was, but it was just like, they're less likely to score when they're playing against Sorokin. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. He's just one of the best goalies in the league. And if two guys are close, that's always a tiebreaker for me, is who they're shooting on. So that's where I'm going. Barzal, Nelson, Kyrou, Buchnevich to score.
Yeah, I've been riding Thomas. Like, the assist train has been so good at minus 130 tonight. He's got 43 assists in 55 games. And I'm with you. I don't really want to pick on Sorokin. He's a game changer. And like, even Torrey Krug has been really good lately. He's got 5, 6, 7, 8 assists over the last 5 games. 3 power play assists, locking a lot of ice time, 26, 23, 24. Like, he's been interesting to me. I know he's available in some leagues, 28% in Yahoo. He's got, like I said, the 9 points over the last 2 weeks. And even Braden Shen he's cooled off the past couple games, but he's been a guy that I've gone to. I like the Islanders here. I think the Islanders win. I feel like there's more desperation in their game. They got the better goaltending. Sorokin. Their game has been pretty decent since Patrick Waugh has taken over, especially what we've talked about so many times. Barzal is now 3.5 shots. So I would never, ever would have guessed, like, because I never view him as a shooter. Never, ever considered his shot props until this recent run. Patrick Waugh's got him shooting the puck, but I can't take. It's jumped down now to 2.5, but it's way too juicy. I can't take it. What I will say is Bo Horvat at Bet Rivers is minus 150 for 3. I like it. I'm going to play it, but it's pretty steep. We're getting to the point where we can't take these guys anymore, but I still think there's decent price. Evan believes this game could be a sneaky good game with maybe some offense tonight between these two teams. I don't have a lot more than that. I just the Barzal and Horvat same game parlay point prop that we've been riding is minus 120. So even the value tonight for that is gone. But you could get creative with a Nelson and a Palmieri at plus 165. Is not too shabby there. All right, Bruins and Flames.
Yep.
Bruins and Flames. Go ahead.
Pasta and Marchand, the usual suspects for them. I like that they play on opposite lines. You said it earlier. Pasta is just, I mean, he's just crazy. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
He's an alien.
He's an alien, right? I'd put him in Kucherov, kind of in that vein. Like, it's just not as obvious. Like, a person that doesn't watch hockey could look at Connor McDavid and be like, oh, he's different, right? And unless these guys are scoring, it's more subtle, right? It's just how they receive passes and how they're just always, it's crazy. I love watching this guy. Negative 115 for Pasta, but I'm still going with him. And Marchand's 210. Calgary side, I'm going Kadri at 230 and Kuzmenko's at 360. I know he's definitely cooled off since he first signed up, but this is a good player, and he's playing important minutes for Calgary. So.
Interested. They went back to Swayman. They went back-to-back games to Swayman. They've just been doing the rotation. So, I mean, Allmark will get the start tonight. But Swayman had the big game against Dallas. He's been the better of the two. He's got a .920 save percentage. He stopped 43 or 46 shots against the Stars. I think that was on President's Day. And then last night he got the start as well. I mean, he gave up 5, but it was just a hell of a game. I kept saying in the Discord last night, I got a Jake DeBrusk feeling. I didn't have it in the tracker, but a couple of our subs bet Jake DeBrusk to score. He scored a goal. It was the first time he scored a goal or even picked up a point since January 22nd. I don't know why I had this feeling for him. It was, I'm like, this guy's playing with pasta. It's the Oilers. He had 20 minutes last night. He played good and he was rewarded with ice time. I'm going right back to him. I think I got to. Jake DeBrusk tonight to score a goal, -110 to pick up a point. And I like his shot prop, +145 for 3 shots. He had 6 last night, and this was part of why I felt like he was not due, but he had some chances that just hadn't gone in for him. He's had at least 3 shots in 5 of his last 6 games, and now 3 of those 6 with at least 4, and then the 6 last night. So Jake DeBrusk, DraftKings +145 for 3 shots and -110 for a point. And I'll go to Zaka as well. We got it late last night in overtime. Beautiful goal by Charlie McAvoy in overtime. Pavel Zaka's -130 for a point tonight. I'm going to stay away from the Flames. Can't trust them. Don't trust them. Bruins money line. I mean, I know it's the second half of a back-to-back, and they're playing probably their worst hockey of the season, but you can get Boston at -120 tonight to beat Calgary. You may have to sweat that one out. It's tough. Second half of back-to-back, but the Flames, they're scrappy. They haven't given up yet, but I still lean Bruins in that one. All right, 3 more here to talk about. Vancouver and Seattle. We got the Kraken at home and the Canucks. I got to jump on this one. EY Vancouver tonight on the money line. I don't like to bet against the Kraken, but you're giving me the Canucks at -120. I'm going to take them. But one thing I will say, and been saying this, been waiting for this, no disrespect, Vancouver, rooting for you guys. You've had a phenomenal season. But I've been saying this for a bit now, is that even JT Miller said it last week. A lot of these guys are having career seasons, maybe punching a little bit above their weight. Sometimes these things happen all year long, or regression happens, the following campaign, or regression happens, at some point through the season. And I think we're seeing that with Vancouver. They've lost 3 straight games. They've given up 17 goals in those 3 games. Again, here on the road in Kraken, not going to be an easy environment for them, but I will lean Vancouver to win the hockey game. But they are playing right now with a little bit of adversity. See, first time all year they've lost 3 straight, and I know it's only 3 straight. That's just how good they've been all year.
Yeah, and the truth is it could come at the right time, right? Like that.
Right.
Sometimes you need that dip, kind of refocuses everybody. It lets coaches and people on the staff get a little more aggressive and say, we need to get back to what we were doing. And these are the things we were doing, and we're not doing those things. So hopefully, I'm cheering for them too, man. It's a great story that they've rebounded very quickly from where they were a couple seasons ago. Tons of great players. I'm going Pedersen at 165 and Miller at 185. Seattle side, Jared McCann seems to be heating up a little bit at +220, and Jaden Schwartz back in the lineup and playing the top power play and playing, I think, on the top line or on the second line, but he's at 290.
Love it. I got 2 guys for points. It's Jared McCann, because you're right, he is heating up lately. He's -120 for a point, and then the other guy, keep going to him. I know it's been pretty hot and cold, hit or miss. Not a lot of consistency in this bet, but Elias Lindholm at -130. I just think there's good value, right? At -130. Like, this guy should be more like -170, -166 with the players that he's playing with, the offensive firepower that this team has. So I have no problem. He's kind of ironing out some kinks, but the ice time has been there considerably for him in the 20-minute range. He's on that top power play. It's kind of in that bumper spot. He gets some touches here and there. So I'm going to go to those 2 guys tonight, but I think the Canucks win the hockey game. Evan says, I see the Canucks having a dip in their performance. Man, it's hard to pass them at. It is hard to pass at them at -120. I would agree. So I think maybe they get it done here tonight and end the skid. But if you're a guy that believes in trends, maybe the Kraken is home dogs tonight. Maybe that'll be a bad play for you. But we're on Vancouver. All right, 2 more. Golden Knights. Hey, we're going to wrap up with your 2 squads here. Vegas and Toronto. Leafs keep it going in Vegas. Tough, man. Second half of a back-to-back playing the Golden Knights. Can't have any lulls in your game. Had a bit of a you're muted. Had a bit of a stretch there last night where Keefe had to call the timeout. I think it was a good timeout to get the boys going again. But
yeah, perfect timing for that timeout. Yeah. This game worries me. Vegas. They didn't get pushed around, but still look really good. They beat them in Vegas, which is great. It looks like Burnett is pushing the right buttons because it looked like a completely different team from it, like it's looked in the last couple of weeks. Completely different. Toronto side, of course, I'm going Matthews. He's -105. Yes, please. And William Nylander at 165. Yeah,
the 105 is probably the best we've seen from him in a couple months.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going back to him. He is just lights out, on fire, and I'm not going to get off that train until he shows me different. And Nylander looked really good the other night too. I mean, he's looked good most of the year. Had a little bit of a lull there, which I think literally coincides with their kind of slide before Morgan Riley thing. Nylander was not the player he was at the start of the year. And now it looks like he's back. He's carrying the puck, like underrated his skating and his ability to carry the puck. Like at this point in the NHL, like because all teams are so structured, like the ability to carry a puck across the blue line and keep it is almost impossible. And he does it. I mean, with ease, like 10, 15 times a game. It's wild to watch. Vegas side, Marshall Solt at 125. Love him as a player. And you mean plus 125, I'm going for it. And Stevenson at plus 280, playing on the second line and playing on the second line, I think, and playing in the top power play. And the most important thing for me is 280 on the top power play. I like that.
Yeah, I got Stevenson here for a point, minus 135 for a point over at DraftKings. I think he hits the score sheet tonight. I think Vegas wins the game, but it's really tough for me to ignore this run that Matthews is on. Like I just talked about it. We brought it up. I think we've been bringing it up consistently here. And even to start the show, we talked about the value for a 2.9 at plus 140. I can't ignore the plus 154 for a 2.9. I just can't. I can't ignore it. And the good value there on the minus 105. I mean, we say good value. We try to find some plus money goal scorers, but the run that he is on, again, like just when things are going your way, they're going your way. Like the puck went off his neck and into the net last night. And that's just how things are going for him right now. Plus 154 for a 2.9. I need a little bit of a sprinkle on that. And then Austin Matthews, I mean, his shot props at 3.5, and William Nylander's shot props at 3.5 as well. I mean, he scored goals in 5 straight games. He had 7 shots last night. So those are 2 shot props for me that are really tough to ignore on the Toronto Maple Leafs side. I mean, the price is much better for Willie, so I'll lean with Willie over Austin and take the 2 points for Austin, the point for Chandler. But I do think that the Golden Knights win this game. And I mean, what are we doing with Bobby McCann? Like, I keep putting it in the McMahon. I keep putting it in the Discord. Like, hey guys, Bobby's 5-1 to score. I don't know if he's going to keep this up, but again, tonight he's 5-1 to score a goal. He's got goals in 3 straight games, and he has 5, 6, 7 over his last 5 games. So do with that
just like we all predicted.
But pizza money at 5-1 for a goal and 28-1 for a first goal. He scored the first goal last night at 28-1.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was. I mean, this guy NHL is good. He wasn't even supposed to play when Marner and Tavares were out there. He was literally scratched, and then during warm-ups, like, okay, you're going to play tonight, and he scored 7 goals in the last 5 games. So that's where we're living, and this is what all good teams need, right? They need players that aren't being counted on to score. And this is what happens when players like that score, that the teams win. So it's I'm not betting on Bobby McMahon to score again. I'm insane, but I'm not that insane.
I might have to do a little sprinkle on the 28-1 first time just to see if this guy is like a unicorn at the moment. All right, last game of the night, Preds and Kings. You mentioned Arvidsson, man, tough go. Now he's out week to week. He only played 17 seconds, one shift, so he was only able to play parts of 4 games, and he was noticeable in those games. He had 12 shots in the 4 games, basically 3. He had a couple assists. So tough go for him. Quentin Byfield, maybe the goal of the season, certainly one of the goals of the season the other night. One of our favorites on this show. I feel like every episode we talk about Quentin Byfield to pick up a point. He's in the middle of a breakout campaign this season. He's got 18 goals in 52 games. He has 24 helpers. He's picked up, man, if you just look at the back, he's just been so consistent. You look at the back of the hockey card for quite some time. He's got points in 8 of his last 10. He's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points in his last 7 games, 4 goals over that span. He's minus 135 to pick up a point tonight against your Preds. I like the Kings here tonight. I know Nashville's coming off a pretty good game. We talked about LA the other night against Columbus. I think we talked Evan into fading them and then maybe taking them on the puck line. They're minus 150 tonight on home ice. A little bit steep, but I do think that they take care of business tonight. But Quentin Byfield is definitely my favorite play from that game. And if George was here, he'd say, don't believe in the game from Pierre-Luc Dubois in the last one. But those guys looked pretty good the other night. And Pierre-Luc Dubois had a couple goals.
He did look good. Like you said, Byfield scored what could be goal of the year.
Man, the way he lost
his form, right
back up, that's nasty.
I mean, just if you've ever tried to handle the puck on skates on ice, like you know how insane that is. Byfield, I got him to score. He's plus 300. Yeah, like when a player like this gets going, he's playing important minutes, playing on the top line, playing on the top power play. Plus 300 is pretty tasty. Kempe at 170. Nashville side, Forsberg, of course, that I think is plus 150. Everything goes through him offensively. He's the heart and soul of this team. Like he's just competitive, mean, can be mean. Does this weird thing where he shoots off his opposite foot. I've tried to do it, and I either miss the net by a million miles or I fall. Those are my options, and it's crazy, and it's hard to read because the goalies think that he's not shooting it because he's on his wrong foot, and it's such a cool thing to watch him do. Like behind between the leg shots, between the leg passes, he does something cool in every game. Just such a rad player and a good dude. Forsberg, and I'm going Luke Evangelista. He's looked really good for them in the last couple games, especially last game. And this is just a little side note. It's his birthday. So, the guys are want to get him to score. They're going to be passing to him and trying to set him up. And the most delicious part of the whole thing, Luke Evangelista plus 460.
Nice. That'd be a nice little birthday gift for him.
He's a good player. And it's not like he's unlikely to score. He's playing important minutes for them and playing in power play and playing with Novak, who's a really good passer, a really good player. Yeah. Definitely could happen.
Man, I think I got to go to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like, I am a sucker for punishment, but I mean, this guy, I know that he's had his issues and he seems checked out and he's gotten all these coaches fired. But at the moment, I think just like having Byfield next to him has, like, let's be honest, he hasn't played with a lot of good players this year. Right? He hasn't. And he's got 5 points in his last 4 games. He's hit the score sheet in 4 of his last 6. He's got at least 3 shots in 2 of 3 and 4 of 5. I don't know. He's plus 114 for a point tonight. Like, if we're on Byfield to score a goal and Byfield to pick up a point, there's a chance, especially if that comes at 5-5, that Pierre-Luc Dubois is involved. I mean, plus 114 for a point, plus 225 for an assist, plus 135 for 3 shots. This is pretty good value there And again, George would just go, oh, no chance. Pierre-Luc Dubois, my parlay. Man, there's just so many good Pierre-Luc Dubois stuff in here. It's just so good.
That was a long night for our buddy Steve Dangle.
What's this one? Oh, don't need you at all. That one's jokes. He's got this one here. Some poverty graphic, George and myself. And then he would say, Pierre-Luc Dubois just rolling down the river.
He's been bad.
I'm going to him. Robert in the house. Love a good birthday narrative. I'm rolling with you, EY. Let's go. Poor Arvidsson. I
had him on my ticket before I found out, but I saw just before we started the show a tweet from Preds, I think on the Preds account, wishing him a happy birthday. So it's his birthday today. He's scoring.
Robert says over 3.5 shots, -105 for Forsberg. He's had 6 in the last 2 games against them. Yossi is an assist machine, rolling with that as well. +124 on DK. Love that, Robert. Forsberg's one of our favorites here. Nice volume shooter as well. And that's a good price because sometimes it's been 4.5 or, really juiced at 3.5, but because of the matchup with the Kings and certainly a couple power plays, he can get to that number as well. Love the call. I'm going Byfield and like a sucker. I'm going PLD. And this one has been one of my favorites all year. It was a rough stretch for a little bit, but Kempe and Kopitar for a point at 365 at +125. Those guys go hand in hand. 5-5 power play and penalty kill there. All right, let's wrap. I got before you rattle off some goal scorers here. Let's lean with some sides, and then I'll wrap with some props. But I am on Florida anytime I can see the Panthers. My favorite side of the night is Dallas, the Stars. I know they're on the road here. Now they're a little bit juiced at -155, but +105 for them to win in 60. If you want to take the -155, I am fine with that. Again, it is a little bit of a juice, but me personally, I bet the in 60 over at DraftKings at +105, and then on the puck line at +158 for them to win by 2. I like the Panthers +100. Like I said earlier, going to take them against anybody in the NHL when I get +100. I like the Canucks as well, maybe to break out of a funk tonight and a 3-game losing streak, their longest skid of the season. And I like the LA Kings at home tonight. And then I'll follow up with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think the Habs playing last night. Going to most likely Allen or Primo, which is a downgrade over Montembeault. And we'll take Pittsburgh at home. A little bit of a sprinkle on them to win on the puck line tonight. The -222 is not for you. It's not for any of us. But -140 for them to win in 60, or the +115 to win by 2 goals. Okay, go for it.
All right, here we go. We got McKinnon, Lehkonen, Larkin, Raymond, Ovi, McMichael, Kucherov, Stamkos, Caulfield, Newhook, Crosby, Malkin, Robertson, Duchesne, Kachuk, Giroux, Reinhart, Matthew Kachuk, Aho, Nechas, Kreider, Lafreniere, Hughes, Heischer, Barzell, Nelson, Kyrou, Buchnevich, Pasta, Marchand, Kuzmenko, Kadri, Matthews, Nylander, Marshall, Stevenson, Pedersen, Miller, McCann, Schwartz, Forsberg, Evangelista, Kempe, Byfield. The 8-way Maniac parlay goes as followed: McKinnon, Larkin, Ovi, Kucherov, Crosby, Reinhart, Matthews, and Pasternak. Reinhart is my lock to score tonight, and I got a pretty interesting little side bet if anyone wants to jump in. Just like $1 or whatever. It's not likely, but I've got Connor McMichael, Alex Newhook, and Luke Evangelista to score, which is a positive 6,817.
Let's go. Let's go. I love the Connor call, McMichael. I love that one.
16 plus 16,817.
Let's go. 3 long shots, but guys that are playing important minutes on power plays as well. So certainly seek some value there. I love those calls.
Don't do that because I'm telling you to. Do it because you like fun.
Do it because I like fun. Reinhart has to find the back of the net, right? It's been forever since he or McDavid has had a goal. I don't know. Like, you'd say yes. I think this would I mean, there's good value because it's the Hurricanes, and yeah, he hasn't scored in a little bit, but also what we talked about was some of the Canucks guys, like sometimes the regression, right? You're punching above your weight, everything's going in, and you're getting puck luck, and sometimes you go through these little slumps, but it's not going to be for too long, I wouldn't imagine, Robert, as Reinhardt's had a hell of a season and he's a goal scorer. In terms of props for me, McKinnon and Jack Hughes, these are guys that I put in already. The 2 units on Nathan McKinnon minus 118. That is over at Bet Rivers. I think I had DraftKings in the bet tracker. That's actually Bet Rivers is the best price. And then Jack Hughes is plus 124 over at DraftKings. Also got Nico Hischier in here for 3 shots. I got Cole Caulfield for 4 shots. I got Alexis Lafreniere for 3 shots and a point inside that game as well. Moving right along, Dallas, I got Matt Duchene for a point. I got Bo Horvat, a little bit of juice there, but I like the Bo Horvat for 3 shots. I got Jake DeBrusk for a point at minus 110 and a little bit of a sprinkle on him to have 3 shots at plus 145 over at DraftKings. I got Jared McCann and Elias Lindholm for a point in the Canucks and Kraken game. I don't have too much here in this list, but again, it's really hard to ignore Matthews plus 154 for the 2-point night. William Nylander at a decent price for 4 shots tonight. Then Quentin Byfield for the point, and also Pierre-Luc Dubois for the point for our guy George. That's it in terms of same game parlays tonight. I will have Mika Zibanejad and a Chris Kreider same game parlay. I will have a Rupe Hintz and a Jason Robertson same game parlay. Of course, that second line Marchment, Sagan, and Duchene at plus 425 for a point and 71 for a 2-point night. I'll do Cole Caulfield and Suzuki as well. I also am in on the Slafkovsky point. And that's really it for some same game parlays. I mentioned Kopitar and Kempe in there. I think you could do a Brock Besser and a JT Miller for the Canucks too, if you wanted to. Okay. We got a little bit quicker, still an hour. It's 11 games. We tried our best. That's all we can do is try our best. Good luck, guys, tonight on the ice. Again, promo code FTN Hoops, 35% off over at ftnbets.com/pricing, ftndaily.com/pricing. A shout out to one of our subs, 50K last night, and we were up at 60 units over at ftnbets.com, 50 plus here over the last couple of weeks. So really good vibes. And that promo will go away. You can sign up monthly or annually if you want. All the projections, all the tools from everybody over at FTN. If you have any questions about the package, hit me up at Chris Meaney on Twitter or meanstreetsftn@gmail.com. We are going to leave you with an early happy birthday to our guy, Evan. On Saturday, he's going to go to the Sens and Golden Knights game for his birthday to celebrate. That should be a really good one. I know you're going to have all the picks there for you. I think we're going to see a Jonathan Marchessault goal in that game. Enjoy. Happy early birthday to you. I respect EY's picks for sure. Real tight spot. Love that. Keep killing it, fellas. Have a great one. And we will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Peace. PLD.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.